Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And I do want to take you guys back a little bit to October of 2022 with this tweet here from Mr. Huber. And we see JP Morgan wants a majority of the new financial system without others knowing. JPM spied and sued Ripple because its technology, transparency, and escrow got in their way, while with Ethereum, JPM was able to disguise its investment and influence. That's why JPM gave Ethereum a free pass. Now, when we really kind of look at this lawsuit, in my opinion, I think that this was just a delay tactic to slow Ripple down so that the infrastructure can be created. Because remember, prior to what Ripple was doing around roughly the 2020 timeframe, there really wasn't much of an infrastructure around digital assets and CBDCs and stablecoins and things like that around the US and even outside of the US. Up until, of course, China with their CBDC, which we all know is not very beneficial for the people of China. But as we do look at what's happening right now around this case, I think that this case was brought in to delay Ripple. I think that Ripple's already chosen. I think that this technology will be utilized. I believe XRP will be very large in the future. I think that this lawsuit was created to delay and slow Ripple down with XRP. And also, I think it was a big shakeout event for the retail sector because most people cannot wait. XRP missed the boat. Most people flip-flopped around, probably sold XRP to go into Dogecoin during 2021 or Shiba Inu or this, that, whatever. And we even see it today more than ever as well. Individuals are so tired of seeing XRP just trailing sideways between like 50 cents. So, I think that the best way to shake out the retail sector is just time. And so far, it's been 2.5 years since this case got brought on. So I could just imagine how many individuals sold XRP on the low and got out of it and got shaken out by this lawsuit. Now, also, as we do see the ideas around, why Ripple was chosen or targeted, however you want to say it, we also see a lot of narratives around the case itself. We do see how the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit could affect the entire crypto industry, a lawyer's take. One thing that I hate about this lawsuit is that we kind of have this echo chamber of dates being brought out as well. This lawsuit could still take months and possibly even years. A lot of people keep saying, like, Nick, why do you think it's going to take years for this case to wrap up? I don't necessarily believe it's going to take years, but I do think that's going to take a lot longer than what most people are anticipating. And the reason for this is because I also believe that the judge on this case might even be getting incentivized to delay this case even more and make everyone wait on the decision. The decision is still due, right? Her ruling is still due now more than ever before. And guess what? We're still not seeing any motion at all from her. So the question is, what's up her sleeve? What's going on with the judge? Is she getting paid off as well to delay? We have no idea, right? You got to remember, this is the US government, one of the most corrupt governments out there. So we still have to wait and wait and wait until we actually get a ruling. And who knows when that could be? I have seen so many people predict dates, and all of these dates lead to, well, you guessed it, nothing. So as we do see over here, though, under what does this mean for crypto? Because I'm going to save you guys all of this. You don't really, this is just a rehash of most things around this case. We do see what does this mean for crypto? Like many in the crypto industry, Seth believes that a ruling in Ripple's favor can clarify in one fell swoop that the SEC does not have the broad authority over the crypto industry. I don't even think that we need the case to be over for us to know this. I think that the SEC is well beyond their jurisdictions when they are targeting crypto. The question is, are these major agencies going to just sit back and do nothing, like Congress, for an example, or even the CFTC, right? Because they haven't done a single thing. They've blasted Gary Gensler and the SEC, but guess what? They don't do nothing. And we do see this would effectively protect crypto companies from the agency's future enforcement actions until clarifying legislation is passed in Congress. Until then, another agency like the CFTC could take charge. The SEC sued crypto exchanges Binance and Coinbase this month, alleging that over a dozen cryptos listed on their platforms were securities in the process. Many of these coins, including ADA, Solana, were sold and behave in a similar manner to XRP and suffered similar losses to XRP after the SEC's allegations. Which, hey, tally that up to more damages that the SEC has done for investors in this industry. They were already at $15 billion with the XRP lawsuit, so I could just imagine how much they're up to now. Seth is himself a crypto investor who spent months reaching his conclusion on the case after reading the SEC summary judgment filings. Through bogus enforcement action, the SEC has terrorized the crypto industry, he said. The SEC has hurt crypto investors, and what's more, it knew it was hurting the investors when it brought these lawsuits. Which, hey, I love to hear these statements, but the problem is, guess what? No actions are being done because, in my opinion, Gary and the SEC are protected under the government, and we already know how corrupt this government is. Now, also, with a lot of the things happening around the SEC and a lot of the things happening within traditional finance, the big question is, was Operation Choke Point 2.0 real? In my opinion, yes, I do believe it was. I will go over that in this video as well. But we do see over here from Preston, I'm sorry, but after watching BlackRock, Fidelity, Citadel, Schwab, and now Deutsche Bank all apply for Bitcoin ETFs, spot exchanges, etc., only a few days after the SEC drops a TRO on Binance and sues Coinbase, how can you think this entire past year was a giant inside job coordinated between the Wall Street parasites and government regulators so they could catch up? The thing is that yes, this is exactly what is happening. FTX, perfect example, right? A lot of people think that the SEC failed to, stop FTX from happening. It's not the fact that they failed. They let it happen. It was by design. It's just like Luna, right? Like Luna, the second that Luna crashed, I think it was maybe like 2 hours or so, Elizabeth Warren already had a draft bill created for stricter regulations around crypto. FTX collapsed, right? Everyone was like, how could we not see this coming? Well, regulators seen it coming a mile away. Gary met with Sam Bankman-Fried. He knew about FTX's business model, and I'm telling you right now, I can almost guarantee you, because it didn't take much to see the corruption and the fraud that FTX was. I can almost guarantee you that they knew that FTX was going to implode, and they were like, okay, this is great. We're getting handed an example on a silver platter to go after crypto in a much stricter way. And even today, they still utilize FTX as an example. And I also think that, yes, I think that the SEC opened the door for these traditional players like BlackRock, Fidelity, and so many other ones to come in at the perfect time. Even NASDAQ has a filing for crypto custody services. So you could tell that they want the suits to be the ones that are selling you the tokens. It's comical. What do you see over here from Johnny Dean? He says, I think I agree. And this is a video from, I think when the time he was on Fox. I want to say this is just right when Bitcoin broke above $20,000, as you guys do see. Listen closely.
And what I think what's happening is that cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin is one of the few times in history where the individual kind of front run the industry, if you will, and the hedge funds. And personally, I think the Gensler's attack on crypto is to allow the hedge funds and the Wall Streeters to come in, crash the market. They come in and then,
by the way, they do that with the stock market.
And yeah, they do that with the stock market. I just talked about this in a video recently where they utilize news propaganda to manipulate the general public. I mean, it happens all the time, right? BlackRock controls almost everything. It's BlackRock, Vanguard, and a few other players. They control and own pretty much all of America. They're running the monopoly show. So, whenever you see news about, oh, Bitcoin's going to go to zero, crypto's this, crypto's that, avoid crypto at all costs, that's the big money paying off the news media so that they could swoop in, buy coins on the low, and then guess what? All of a sudden, we're all filing for an ETF, jump in. FOMO into Bitcoin, FOMO into crypto right now. All of a sudden, you have FOMO, you have price appreciation, and guess what they do? They dump on you because they don't care about you. The same way that the SEC, they don't care at all either. Why do you think they cause billions of dollars worth of damages? Oh yeah, it's to protect you, right? I'm telling you right now, nobody worth $100 million plus cares about you. I hate to break it to you, but Gary Gensler having a $100 million plus net worth, and these individuals that are in these office positions, like even Elizabeth Warren, right? She's worth I think $15 million. She doesn't care. She cares about getting richer. All of these big elites care about that. Gary Gensler, he doesn't care if you lose all of your money. He cares if he loses all of his, or he cares about who's going to pay him next to, spread the next stupid narrative around crypto. I could just imagine how much money these traditional giants were paying the SEC. Because we all know that there's backdoor deals happening within the SEC. And also, over here from Mr. Huber actually talking about traditional players. Check this out. This is comical. The SEC fines JP Morgan subsidiary for deleting 47 million emails, some related to subpoenas. The SEC, wow, they only fined them $4 million. JP Morgan, that also just, I forgot how much money they just made off of buying up those defunct banks. I think that they made immediately right out of the gate like $2 billion or something like that. Here they're getting fined $4 million for accidentally deleting about 47 million emails from early 2018. That's like you going to the IRS and saying, hey, I accidentally burned all my money, so I guess you can't charge me any tax money, right? Like, imagine how that would go. You'd be in jail immediately. But here's JP Morgan literally deleting 47 million emails, accidentally deleting 47 million emails. I mean, I could see accidentally deleting 4 emails, but 47 million, come on. And when you see the firm in late 2021 agreed to pay $125 million in penalties for failing to preserve text messages and other electronic communications sent between January 2018, interesting time frame here, and November of 2020. Wow, a month before Ripple got sued. That's definitely something pretty interesting. And we do see, let me get this straight, for more than 2 years, we have put forward the conspiracy theory that JP Morgan systemically bribed the SEC under Trump to obtain a regulatory monopoly for its own crypto technologies. Now it comes out that JP Morgan deleted 47 million emails from the most suspicious period before the Hinman speech, which just happens to be part of current subpoenas investigations, and they coincidentally forgot to save all other text messages and reports during the Trump administration too. Yeah. Definitely interesting. And we do see early 2018, you say. Interesting. Yeah. And we do see one bet that all emails between Coinbase and JP Morgan are also affected. Check this out. This is from May of 2020. Ben Armstrong and Jamie Dimon used to meet at JP Morgan's headquarters in 2018, according to an author of the book on Coinbase. Check this out. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon hosted secret meetings with Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong as early as 2018, according to Fortune journalist and author Jeff Roberts. He divulged the information while promoting his book, Kings of Crypto, which covers Coinbase's rise to prominence along with many stumbles. So yeah, this is pretty interesting, and we even do see more. It would be a damn coincidence if the SEC also suddenly suffered an inexplicable loss of certain data between 2017 and 2020. And we do see the SEC says it believes its policy of destroying records of closed preliminary investigations complied with federal law, although it has since changed its policy. Interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, when we look at this, it's absolutely wild. It's absolutely wild that things like this just kind of get, thrown under the rug, if you will. And this is something that I've been focused on for so long in terms of the corruption within this government. It's ridiculous at this point. But again, it all begs the question. Why really was Ripple sued? What's going on with Ripple? Is everything up until this point just focused on Operation Choke Point 2.0? It very well could be. And for those that weren't around during 2014 or focusing on the news during 2014, well, that's basically the start of Operation Choke Point, where the Department of Justice and bank regulators colluded and overreached their authority to close legal businesses that were deemed undesirable. They did it through pressuring banks and credit card payment processors to close the accounts of people and companies that had not violated any laws without any proof of wrongdoing. It's happening again today on a much bigger scale against legal US companies that use crypto technology for their product offerings. And again, do I think that this is right on par with what's happening right now? Yeah, technically speaking, I think that we are in this point of time where we're seeing crypto get scrutinized on a massive scale. But the big question is, like, what's their goal behind this? Is it just to, let the traditional players come into the space and eat it all up? Or is it to slow this technology down so that the big leaders around the traditional system could be the leaders behind this technology? It very well could be, right? But one thing is certain, right? In my mind, it's all leading up to the Big Bang, right? I've focused on Ripple in just the last couple months, expanding rapidly. I mean, in the month of June alone, we've seen so many big updates from Ripple. Recently, the MAS, huge. Also, Navati with stablecoins on the XRP ledger, massive announcement, and there's so much more as well during 2023. and even going back to 2022 and 2021, there's been so many big updates ever since the lawsuit, with Ripple non-stop expanding rapidly. It's almost as if innovation within the US has paused a little bit, but outside of the US, it has not paused at all. In my opinion, the reason why Ripple had to get sued was to slow it down and delay this technology a little bit, because again, regulations are a huge obstacle to adoption of this type of technology from the traditional and institutional grade sector. As we look at what's happening right now around regulations, just recently, going back to July of 2022, the ECB officials prepare for harmonization of crypto regulations. This was with MiCA. MiCA recently just started to get implemented and become a big deal within the EU. This has happened. Also, remember, going back to May of this year, the World Economic Forum paves the way for global crypto asset regulation. We actually do see within this white paper, it highlights unique challenges and necessary considerations regarding the regulation of crypto assets. Considering the borderless, open source, decentralized nature of these digital currencies, their regulation requires a delicate balance between preventing harm, protecting users, and promoting innovation. And what's this all centered out on? Well, it's very simple. They acknowledge significant progress made so far, especially through the involvement of numerous international organizations like the FSB, the IMF, the BIS, the OECD, the IOSCO, and national regulators such as the EU, Singapore, two big ones here, Japan, and also even the UAE, India, South Africa, and even the US, among others. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, it's very simple. Down here, the white paper outlines several challenges in implementing a global regulatory approach, including lack of harmonized classifications, regulatory arbitrage, and fragmented monitoring. The World Economic Forum suggests these hurdles can be overcome through collaboration among policymakers, regulators, and the industry. Remember, I just talked to you guys about the FSB, the IMF, the BIS, all of these big giants collaborating. And in fact, the G20 themselves gave the FSB the go-ahead to create a global harmonized regulatory framework on crypto assets and global stablecoins. This is happening right under the noses of everyone out there that's focused on this SEC lawsuit and what Congress is going to do and what this is going to focus on. The big deal here. A global harmonized approach is happening around crypto regulations. Why do you think the BIS has been going like, I mean, every single major announcement from the BIS now is centered out on the future monetary system. It's centered out on interoperability, connecting through API gateways, distributed ledgers. I mean, it's wild to me that most people are not seeing what's happening from some of these big leaders like the BIS, the IMF, the FSB, and so many other ones, at a time where we should be focused on these leaders, because these are the ones that are really making the decisions around the global financial system. And I get it, right? The SEC, big focus. We have to wait on this lawsuit. We're still waiting on this lawsuit. Meanwhile, outside of the US, Ripple continues to expand rapidly. Outside of the US, we see regulatory approaches happening every single day as well. And also, all of these big areas, the big giants, the UK, for an example, like the big four, right? We focus on the big four as well. But the UK is getting very close to announcing their regulatory approach. And also they're getting very close to getting that CBDC pushed out, the digital pound. But all of these big areas, they want to become a crypto hub as well. And these are all areas that Ripple themselves is making a prominent name in. And also, by the way, at the same time, these are the areas that are upgrading their overall financial infrastructure to allow for these type of technologies to be implemented and integrated within their financial system. Meanwhile, yes, in the US, we have this lawsuit slowing Ripple down. At the same time, what's coming? Oh yeah, that's right, FedNow. So all of this, in my opinion, is aligning for this global harmonized approach around crypto regulations. And it's all so that they can get ready on the infrastructure side of things to implement this technology and utilize this technology. And yes, we still might be years away, but I welcome that because it allows us to buy and accumulate more of these tokens. Everyone should welcome that, because I speak from my experience within this market. No matter what your bag size is, you're always going to want more. And it's not a bad thing to have much larger bags at the time when the prices start to skyrocket. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys have more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. So it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. It's been Nick. Peace out, guys.